After days and days of innocuous babble on the stand, finally Arias addresses why we're here. The murder. Her defense, and I quote, "It's all a huge gap." Yes, stabbing Travis Alexander 29 times, slashing his throat from ear to ear, shooting him, and leaving the man she claims she loved dead and decomposing in a damp shower stall. She now says she can't remember killing him. This is what we've been waiting on. The defense that explains it all. She says it's all a big blur. She remembers all up to the point where he's chasing her and he's going to beat her, and then boom, the next thing she knows, she kind of comes to. She's out in the desert driving her car, literally with blood caked, dried on her hands. But she can't remember a darn thing about that pesky murder. Straight out to Jinkasaurus and Beth Karras joining us at the courthouse. Jinkasaurus, I can't believe it. We've been waiting all this time to hear her tie it all together, connect the dots, explain what happened. You know, just give me something to hang my hat on. This was nothing. Did you ever imagine that she was going to get on the stand and say, "I don't remember. There's a big gap. It's all just a big blur"?
I did, simply because yesterday she had said, you know, I just don't remember too much about that day. But she went on today, Nancy, almost all day, saying that once she realized what had happened, she felt her life was done. She felt, this is it for me. I have no future. She was accepting responsibility, Nancy. She wasn't saying, I survived, I almost died, and I survived. And as she was thinking those thoughts to protect herself so nobody would ever find out she did this, Travis Alexander is rotting. He's decaying in the shower of his home for days.
Beth Karras, what was the jury doing? What did they do when she first tuned up about not remembering the moment that she murdered Travis Alexander? Not one of those 29 stab wounds, not the slashing ear to ear, not the gunshot, nothing. She remembers nothing.
She remembers nothing, and jurors just stared at her. They were all turned slightly to their left, which is, you know, toward the witness box, and they're just looking at her. Now, a few of them would occasionally take notes, but all day today, because all day was spent on June 4th and the aftermath of the killing, they just looked at her. Now, I didn't see them emoting. I couldn't see expressions or anything like that, but one has to wonder if they were thinking, really? That's all you got for us? And Nancy, toward the end of the day, she was talking about how she attempted or thought about killing herself when she was arrested in Wairika. She's in the county jail before being brought back to Arizona, and she got ready, and she got extra clothing to put under her so she wouldn't drip to the bunk below her on whoever her cellmate was, and she got this razor, and she did one little nick on her wrist, and it hurt so much. So she didn't go through with it. And of course, you know, I'm getting comments from people, and I'm thinking, what do you think Travis felt like when she was slitting his throat and driving the knife into him? She one little nick on herself, it hurt too much.
You know, Beth and Jean, I'm stunned. I didn't think that anything Jodi Arias could do at this point could surprise me. But to put her up on the stand and say, I don't remember what happened, 29 stab wounds, slashing ear to ear, gunshot wound to the head, and we all know that what she says is physically impossible based on what the medical examiner said. The medical examiner said point blank, and correct me ladies if I'm wrong, that the gunshot wound was the last wound. It didn't really bleed because blood was no longer pumping through his body. Am I right about that, Jean?
Nancy, here's the problem. They believe it was the last wound, but he was so decomposed when he was finally found and taken for autopsy that they couldn't really tell. They believe it was the last wound, but there was so much decomposition in his brain they couldn't see if there was hemorrhaging or not. They didn't find hemorrhaging, so they believed he was already dead when he was shot.